Here goes the fastest 28 minutes of my life.
Man, oh man.
This is hilarious.
I'll hit a timer. Boom. How you doing, brother?
Hello, Richard.
Welcome, listeners. This is, I'm not even sure technically what episode this is anymore. We just meet up once a week and we hit record and we see what happens.
Which is terrifying.
So welcome to this episode. Whichever episode this is for you, this might be your first episode. We don't know yet, but
we're car mechanics.
We are car mechanics. If this is your first episode,
right.
Welcome to the Just Us podcast. If this is not your first episode, welcome back. This is Mike, and I am Rich, and we are here to not only talk to each other, but hopefully in some way talk to you guys about things that kind of matter to us. Hopefully they matter to you, and hopefully we can give you some personal and professional insight on some things that you might be tooling around with in your head. So before we hit record, we were talking about, well, first we talk about what we're going to talk about every week. We were thinking about maybe diving into a couple topics today.
Playing with some ideas.
We'll see where it goes. And as always, guys, if you are watching and there's anything you would like us to talk about or you would like some professional insight on regarding this business, we are at the wedding establishment. This is where we shoot. This is Mike's beautiful, well, establishment.
My child.
This
my little
is your
baby.
baby.
My
This is-
screaming child baby.
You
nut.
are, like, and on the seventh day, Mike rested. This is like your Eden. This is your Garden of Eden.
It's it's a, one wedding business is a lot, but 4 or
12,
5 with everybody else incorporated is a ton.
It's a lot. You got a lot going on for sure, man, and we are definitely happy to be your band.
I love you.
So we were thinking about maybe starting with the general topic of perception and reality in this business, not only from our entrepreneurial standpoints, but from the buyers and the people who are actually throwing these events. I guess we can start off maybe with a little anecdote.
Kind of like what we're talking about, walk bys.
Right. So this place is obviously, as you can see in the backdrop, this is just you're basically just looking at 400 square feet of 4,000 square feet of a beautiful retail space here. And a lot of people, we are located on a very popular street in an area that its surrounding towns are pretty affluent. And so you get a lot of traffic walking by. And I know you've heard directly from people, if I'm not mistaken, like, oh, wow, we never thought of actually coming in. It looks too expensive. Right. And so, I've been there as a buyer. I've been there. You walk through a high-end mall and I'll take a peek in Hugo Boss as I'm walking by, and you take a look at the $2,000 suits and shoes and all this stuff. And the attendant there is like dressed to the nines, and they look straight out of a magazine.
Yep.
And here I am walking through with my taxi hat, and I'm like, oh, that's not a store for me. They're gonna kick me out.
We all do it,
right? And
we all do it.
And I think we limit ourselves.
Right.
We limit ourselves before we even go in. And as Kate, our boudoir photographer, was mentioning earlier, I think a lot of people, they kind of fool themselves. They don't even know what they can, I'm air quoting here, afford, because they haven't assigned a value to it yet.
I have no idea.
Right? Like, for me personally, if I knew I was going to be going to an event that required a $1,500 suit, I'd walk into Hugo Boss with no block. Right. So I think maybe you can expand on that a little bit too.
So building out the place now, 2.5 years ago, I wanted that high-end look. It's weddings. It should be luxurious and beautiful and higher end. What I came to realize was this perception versus reality thing where people would walk by and, friends of friends, we know people in town, and it would come back to me. People would say, I can't go see Mike and his company because it's too expensive. Mind you, they have not once ever got a price quote for anything. And the reality is that we are one of the most affordable. So it's almost like downplaying the glitz and glamour to really show people, you can have beautiful and elegant and class and look expensive, but that doesn't mean you have to pay crazy amounts of money. And I look at look at, what is it? Hyundai. They came out with the Equos, the car. It was like the Mercedes S-Class version in their world.
Right.
And it was like half the price of a Mercedes, but it was the engine of the year.
Right.
It had it was like way up there in quality. So they too fought this battle of perception versus reality. And I know, you going back to the mall, we all do it. We all do it.
1,000%. And to be honest with you, and it's sparking some thoughts here too, like from a personal perspective, my struggle as a band leader.
Yes.
Before anything.
Oh, bands are $20,000.
Right? Like they're going to go, we can't afford a band. We love bands, but we can't afford them because they somehow, people, I think we rationalize things.
And we've been, the end users have been groomed to think, oh, bands are expensive because her band costs this, and my mom says bands are expensive.
Absolutely. It's similar, right? So you would look at a Hyundai luxury sedan and go, oh, that kind of looks like a Mercedes. Right. I know what a Mercedes costs.
Yeah.
But then there's also like this weird kind of reverse psychology that I think happens to us is like you might look at that Hyundai and go, well, it's half the price of an S-Class.
Right.
It's probably a piece of crap.
It also has the tag, the name, the brand name.
Yeah.
So
it's a weird balance. It's a weird tightrope walk, So I think, I guess, my advice, and maybe I can start following this myself as not only an entrepreneur but as a consumer, is, live a little, right? Why limit yourself?
What hurts you from going into a store? Maybe there's a giant clearance. Maybe you just don't know.
You just don't know.
But what I know is that literally for not much more than a premium DJ company out there, you get a full-blown band.
Absolutely.
And so people just don't know.
They just don't know. And, if it is more expensive, and it probably, will be, again, but this goes into the whole bang for the buck versus, value versus price, which we've talked about in the past. But
right.
I think the interesting thing is that, like you said, you might walk past this beautiful building. The band might be running a half off sale. You just walk in and ask questions, right?
And this goes back to what my mother taught me: you never judge a book by its cover.
100%.
Like you just
100%. It's so funny you bring that up, man. Literally just this weekend, I was kind of joking with a friend, and we were talking, and I said, well, if you can't judge a book by its cover, why do books even have covers? Right. So I think there's an interesting kind of
I just entered the matrix there.
Right. It's like books on books on books.
Yeah.
It's like, but with that said, yes, you should not judge the quality of a book by its cover. However, a nice book cover will make you read that book a little quicker.
Absolutely.
Right. So like there's a little bit of a psychological thing, which is one of, again, I always compliment you on the design of this place, and you just, it's gorgeous. It's breathtakingly gorgeous, and everyone who comes in here agrees with that. This is your book cover.
Yeah.
It's
because I think started from the DJ world. The DJ world had such this. You go into a DJ's office or space or studio. It's like clubbed out. Mm-hmm. It's like this whole look, this whole vibe, and I wanted to go opposite that.
Yeah.
I want to know, listen, DJs, we can be elegant and classy, and we don't have to have white furniture and crazy lights hanging from the ceiling. It doesn't have to be like that.
Right.
It can be chandeliers and velvet couches.
So you're actually playing with the perception a little bit.
Yes.
Like you get like the I always call it the cheap joke.
Yeah.
Like you'll get a movie or a comedian or something who they'll go for the cheap laugh.
Yep.
And then you'll get a movie or a comedian that will actually make you want to think about it a little bit. You don't have to fool them into thinking that they're walking into a nightclub.
Wow, they'll walk by. That's not a normal looking DJ space.
Right.
And then they're like, it's an intrigue.
Right.
And it's a little mind game thing, but it works, and there's honestly no right way to do it.
Absolutely
I just
not.
choose to go against what every other DJ company or band does or have done.
Yep. I think we definitely have sort of we're we are the anti-establishment.
Literally, anti-establishment
Right?
establishment.
It's whatever your notions are, whatever your perception of this industry is. Like our goal is to kind of break that.
And if you're getting into the industry, or you're thinking about getting into the industry, and you want to, you got your cubicle job and you just can't do it anymore, and you want to do what you love and all that stuff, like, this is a battle that you'll come across. Are you starting off small and you have like a little shed somewhere, it's at your basement of your mom's house, like then you're gonna deal with the reverse, where it's like they're gonna walk into your mom's house and you're gonna go into a basement and it smells like fish because she's cooking dinner. I'm saying it's because I've been there.
I was gonna ask.
I've been
that
there.
Sounds so specific.
I'm like, Mom, you're really making tuna fish tonight? Like, what the hell? It's like a client's walking in and I'm like spraying potpourri everywhere. But so you'll deal with the other spectrum. So it's finding a balance. Where I'm at is kind of downplaying the chandelier and the, it's looks are a lot.
It's true to who you are though too. You're decorating this place the way you did, just like the way we design our band and outfit our band.
Exactly.
It's honest. It's just honest.
If I was a space, if Mike Hernandez turned into a space,
yeah,
this is me.
Yeah,
this is what I would look like.
If you transform into a room.
The weirdest thing to ever think about. If I was a room, which room in your house?
What kind of car would you be? If you were a GoBot or a Transformer, what would your
dude? That is like so odd to think about. But there's parts of you come alive. They say it's not you're reflected. What did they say? You're reflected not with the car you drive, but what your house looks like. And if you think about it, I could go and buy whatever right now, and it's like this whole show of it. But like, you come to my house, you're really gonna see who I am.
Right.
Because of like, I don't know. Do you have pictures of your family up? Right. It goes so deep, but
it goes deep, and it reminds me of a quote that I love, and I don't remember off the top of my head who said it, but it's the way you do one thing is how you do everything.
Oh yeah.
Right. So if you can carry that. If you make a cup of coffee
right
with care and precision,
yes,
chances are everything you do has.
This is actually, I think, the underlying meaning of our bromance.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
If you boil it all down,
yeah,
I'm pretty certain that it's that level of care and how jobs are done, like. I look around the floor, I'm just like seeing a million things. Like you can't half-ass it. I just never, my uncle taught me, he's just like, do it right the first time.
100%.
I don't want to come back to that again. I want to do it right. I want to nail it.
Absolutely. And take a little pride in it, right? Like measure twice, cut once. Just the whole, I can spew out things that I've learned from, the wise people in my life.
Sometimes when you heard it, you were like, yeah, whatever, old dude.
Yeah, right.
But there's so much truth behind that. And so again, if you're thinking about coming into the wedding world or, making a career change, like these are absolute things that you have to know are coming, but things I didn't think would happen. There's so many things like building stuff out, like, wow, I thought I would have known this going in, but until it's done, then you're like, oh, I get it.
Absolutely. You as you grow, right? You learn as you move.
You got the one-liners, bro.
I'm a poet, man.
I'm
a poet, and I didn't even realize it.
There you go.
Is that the rhyme?
Keep going. I don't even need to be here.
Actually, so here's a personal question.
Oh boy.
I don't know if I've ever asked you this before, but I get the feeling that growing up, were you good at shop class? Like wood shop?
Oh, I loved it,
dude.
Obsessive.
I hate you.
Obsessive.
I'm thinking measure twice, cut once. Like my father was an electrician and a carpenter.
Yeah.
Apart from also, being a retired musician, his day trade was that, and he was really good with that kind of thing.
Yeah.
He did not spawn a son who was good with a circular saw. As a matter of fact, so I built my first recording studio by hand, and my first apartment in Newark, New Jersey, years and years ago. It was a basement apartment, and I actually built out a bedroom.
Get out of here.
By myself. Now, this is like we probably only had a fraction of the information on the internet that we do now.
Yeah.
So like you could learn about it,
Yeah.
but like that's not what everyone was doing.
You got to
at
go to
the
like
time.
AOL.com and
Right. You had to like like just to,
get there. Yeah.
You get like the dot matrix print out of the picture. So anyway, so I go to Home Depot and I buy all this stuff, right? Long story short, I would imagine unless they've replaced it to this day, there was probably a 16-inch gash in the kitchen linoleum where I dropped the circular saw on it while using it, and it decided to take a ride across the went right across the linoleum, almost catching me in the foot.
What?
So yeah, so point being, the second time around, the second recording booth I built, much better.
You gotta do
much easier to put together.
It's like everything else is a trial and error. Yeah. I've been trying to do something like this for the last like 10 years, and I think it's trial and error, but I ultimately think it's timing. I wasn't ready for this 10 years ago. I just wasn't.
Do we even have time to go down this path right now?
This is
that is such a good point, man. That is such a good point. I think oftentimes, just to keep it not too much of a tangent here, I think the point here is go out of your comfort zone once in a while.
Always.
Right? Don't be intimidated by pricing. Don't be intimidated by a circular saw. Try it and see what happens.
I said in one of the previous episodes, it's like one of my go-to things. I'm more comfortable in the uncomfortable.
For sure.
If I'm comfortable, 6 months, this place was done and built. And I was like, all right, what's next? Then I learned like, Mike, slow down and really get this built.
Right.
And it's been trial and error and still learning, still going.
Sure.
But it's timing.
It's so interesting.
I was an
that you
idiot
bring that up.
10 years ago. I'm still an idiot, but I'm less of an idiot now.
I totally, I think.
Are you agreeing you're an idiot?
I am. I think we're all idiots. I think we were all more of an idiot yesterday than we are today. Yeah. It's just what it is. It's just how it goes, right? Every single day you have literally like acquired probably millions of interactive knowledge.
But the key is, I think, with this whole piece we're talking about is to be aware that you're acquiring and not just let it come in. It sits there. Like I'll have an interaction this morning I had, and I'm like thinking about the interaction. I'm like, oh, I just learned something there that I could apply to this.
Right.
And then this becomes that. Like
when you're aware, I think that moment that you become aware of what's happening is when you're ready to absorb it.
This knowledge is so key for anybody, looking to come into the industry or changing an industry. I mean, it's
any entrepreneurial endeavor, right? I mean, I think a lot, and
even couples, brides and grooms, like
absolutely.
Don't be afraid to walk in the place that looks too expensive. The owner just might be there and love your love story and hook you up. Wink, wink. Like
absolutely.
These are
also,
the things.
Not to get too romantic or spiritual, but since we're speaking about couples here, like they say, when you know.
Oh yeah.
Well, what is that, right? Well, I don't think it's necessarily magic. I think it is magical. But I think what it is, when you know, that's the moment you've become aware. Of the interaction between the two of you, and then you're ready to move forward.
This makes a lot of sense,
right? I think so. It really, I think that's
and then that does go down the rabbit hole of, connection and frequency and vibrations, and like when you met your partner, it's like, what? How did you know? Right. What is that?
Right.
And so, getting into the uncomfortable zone, looking, feeling, and like you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
But the bottom line is, here, whether it's the band, the DJ company, our photo company, like you'll be shocked actually by price points and service and the people behind this whole operation.
Definitely.
Which is most important.
Most definitely. And I think, I think it's the whole thing's an adventure anyway, right? Just the whole industry is, just starting with the seed of the couple, just the whole love story. It's a journey, isn't it? So why not make it exciting? Try it out. Go walk into a place that you wouldn't think of walking into. If you love live music and you're not sure, just check it out. You never know.
You didn't think you'd meet your husband and wife online, did you? And then you just don't. Oh, I'm not going to do that. That's weird. Like that's creepy. And then all of a sudden you meet,
Absolutely. Absolutely. What's the weirdest place you've ever
Heard a couple getting married at?
or having
I've
met
definitely
or something?
I've got the Tinder ones.
Okay.
They were together 8 months.
Wow.
That wedding did not happen, to be frank.
Okay. All right.
That didn't happen. I've gotten, weird things like ambulance got picked up the guy, the one of the paramedics.
yeah.
They,
EMT or
the
something.
EMT actually fell in love with the guy that was hurt and like all this stuff. Like
Really?
some weird waitresses serving the guy. Like
That's so funny, man.
it goes weird things. So
That
we
is really
always
funny.
ask, because like you said about the band, why choose the band? What makes guarantees a great party? And Rich's answer to the client was like, we are going to get to know you.
Right.
And who you are, and then we're going to know who your family is and your friends, and so that the same thing applies.
Right.
It's like that thing. It's just that's it.
It's just it is. It's just all about, again, we always go back to this theme, but it's just about connection.
That's it.
Right? So why limit yourself to a connection because of your perception of what that connection may or may not be? You just never know.
Feel it, and maybe sometimes it won't be, but guess what?
Yeah.
You're one step closer to the right
You'll be smarter
guy
tomorrow.
or girl. Yeah.
For sure. Our story, and these guys probably know our story by now too, but our band had split from an agency not very soon before I met you,
Supposed to happen.
right? And it was just like, oh, well, this is a little different, isn't it?
I think it's in
You
like
know?
episode 1 we talk about
Yeah, I
the
think we
encounter.
talked about the way the encounter.
Just picture a dark bar and like smoke, and I have a martini, and I'm like, you come here. It was like such a baller weird moment. I
yeah,
loved
and it was not a macho moment either. Like it wasn't like like you slid me a stein of beer down a saloon bar. It was nothing like that. It was like, could you ask them to come say hello? to me?
Yeah. I just want to say hi, and I was like blown away by the talent level, and I was like, I'm opening this place across the street. Like I don't care what you're doing. Like I need you guys in this joint.
Insane.
And that was 2 years ago now.
It's crazy, man. Time flies. We say it every week when we shoot this podcast, how crazy time flies, but on the macro level, but like even on the long level, man, 2 years.
Like
2 years.
And sometimes
ago.
I get into the thing where it's like, did I really do everything I could within that 2 years?
Right.
And it's hard to say because every single day I'm just trying to push as much as I can. You can always do better, but I really just give it my best shot. And I know you do musically as well. You just, no regrets.
No regrets, man. That is definitely a mantra. I think, the way I look at it is like life is a giving tree. It sprouts fruit and this and that, and you can be a person who takes the piece of fruit off the tree and takes one bite out of it and throws it out.
Yeah.
Or you can be a person who literally squeezes every drop of juice out of that fruit.
I agree, but I disagree, and here's why. Because you're a special guy with that positive side of you, whereas as far as the giving tree, some people look at life, it's like, this life's taking, it's not a giving tree, it takes everything from me, and that's their mindset.
Yeah.
Like
and I've been there. I've been
yeah.
there. I think my answer to that person, my reply to that person would be, if that is the way you feel and you're unhappy about it, plant your own tree.
It's crazy.
Learn how to farm. Again, we said it in one of our episodes, but at our fingertips, we have infinite knowledge now. Like
sometimes I ask, Dad, why are you asking me how to do this? I go, you have 14 billion YouTube videos at your fingertips, and they're going to explain it way better than I could ever do it.
Now, see, I can accept that from an older generation.
Yeah, because they do want that connection, and I get it.
And it's annoying. Yeah. I cannot accept it from the younger generation. Don't ask me questions. It's 2019.
Hey, you guys want to be in the episode or what?
Hi, guys. Yeah, so again, just further proof this is a living, breathing ecosystem.
It's amazing.
Of people in and out and hustling and bustling all day. But yeah, man.
Mostly women. I think Rich and I are like the only two dudes, really.
And that's even debatable at times. I think,
Yeah, that is. And it's like, people are like, oh, Mike, I think he's like you know, he's gay or this and that. But I mean, it's such again, going against the grain. Like, I'm in the wedding business, and so you assume or perceive
Absolutely.
but it's just not.
Yep.
It's not where it
Absolutely.
goes.
We are. I think that's part of who we are. I think we're walking anomalies, and I think if you can be, you know, it's hard to use these words these days,
Yeah.
right? But a man,
Right.
Because you don't really even what is the expectation from society
Right.
for that. But you can also be sensitive and smart and caring and like flowers. I like flowers, man. There's nothing wrong with that.
So my buddies rip on me sometimes.
That's all right.
They're like, Mike's in the wedding industry and he wears like tight jeans. And like, I'm like, man.
Well, I think, you know, if you are watching this episode and you are a couple who's interested in working with wedding vendors, go ahead and leave a comment below here.
Yeah.
And you let me know whether you'd rather have a vendor who is fashion forward and stylish or a vendor who wears Costco jeans and dad sneakers.
Tuxedo from '84.
Yeah. Do you want the ruffled shirt and the wide lapel, or do you want the band leader to be wearing like a slim fit suit?
Yeah.
Right. So there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with.
It's
Actually, in the conversation I had with my friend about the book by its cover, I said, even the Bible has a nice cover.
Jesus.
Right.
Yeah.
Like
I just said Jesus.
hey, you know, I mean, it's like even back in the day before any of this stuff was even like
That's
a thing.
a great point.
They were like leather-bound covers. They weren't just to protect the pages. They had embroidery on them. They had designs and, you know, floral prints and stuff because it intrigues the mind.
It meant something.
It means something.
It means something.
It's a level. If you cared enough to decorate the cover of your book, then you cared enough.
How easily can you? I know we're running out of time, but how easily could you show up to a wedding in some rented tux, or how easy would it be for me to get a cheap little place? I'd make more money, but then what?
Yep.
You know,
100%, man. My speakers could have cost $199.
Oh, yeah.
I could be easily playing a $99 keyboard.
Yeah.
I choose not to because we care. We care what we sound like. We care what we look like. We care. We actually want to ease your mind about your perception right off the bat.
Yeah. I hope we're doing that.
I think we are. And I think it's just a way to keep the door open for people.
And I would love to see, by all means, some of the other top companies out there in all stages of and you know, DJs and photography companies and other bands. I would love to see other companies do something similar. Put yourself out there, really get to know who you're dealing with. There's one thing to show crazy dance footage of a wedding,
right?
But like, who are the guys behind it? What characters are you dealing with? Do they really care, or are you a paycheck?
I think that's an important point, you know, and it brings all this stuff together. Is that if you focus on fixing your perception, but that's where you stop,
right?
Then what you're doing is a skin deep operation, and I think.
And that doesn't last.
It doesn't last. You know, you want the book cover because you believe you have a quality book.
Wow.
And you want people to actually peruse the book.
The title of this podcast is going to be pretty good.
Yeah, man. I think so.
Something.
I think so. We'll figure it out.
Wow.
We'll definitely figure it out. Guys, I think, unfortunately, time just flies. But
for us.
And hopefully we haven't, hopefully our perception of time is not the opposite of your perception.
Yeah, they're like, this is
They're
awful.
like, Jesus, these guys are still yakking about the Bible. But anyways, we'll wrap this up, guys, and we will catch you next week. This has been the Just Us Podcast with Mike and Rich. Peace.
That was, I don't know, but that was fun. That was just real fun. Just, we're...
You know the most fun part for me of the whole thing is?
Your pants were off the whole time?